So the story of the brand that I am most recently working on is through an agency called Collab, which was put together to basically handle all of Pfizer's commercial needs. So that said, I was brought into the specialty care team as the creative lead. The particular drug I work on is called Vyndamax. It is for ATTR-CM. That's a pretty rare disease where if you've had heart failure before, there's a possibility that your kidney is developing its proteins in your livers, the proteins in the right way, but they're breaking apart and becoming twisted and sticky, and oh my goodness, and start sticking on the sides of your heart. Bad news. And eventually, if it accumulates enough, you will start getting thickening, hardening walls, and you will die. So it's a really urgent need to try and identify the people. That's the biggest part of this particular brand. The commercial side, I should back up a little bit. Pfizer's medication has been on the market for 5 years. It was the first and only for this particular disease state. So they've had no competition. And that's pretty important to talk about, because when I was brought onto the team, it was because there will be, well, now there is competition. When I was brought on the team, it was to start planning for the competition that's on the market now. One of those being Attruby. You may see the commercial on television with Morgan Freeman.
Even ATTR cardiac amyloidosis.
Because of all the competition that I just talked about, we are in the middle of coming up with a new television campaign. So that's always fun. And that's basically where I've been devoting most of my time and energy since the beginning of the year and even prior to that. Where we landed is, hey, we've been here for 5 years. This is a drug that actually allows you to live longer and keeps you from dying. That's pretty important. So we're just going to come out as a brand leader because we're Pfizer. So right now we have about 3 main concepts, 2 of which we're developing, myself and my partner. This is a big company, so the Super Bowl ads this year, and Pfizer had a big one for cancer. That's a different team, but I did still, have a part in that too. This will be basically my piece of work for the brand that I am working on. So this one is going to be handled by myself much more intimately and hands-on than the other projects. Right now we do have patient testimonials.
When I was initially diagnosed with ATTR-CM,
and usually I'm the one who's developing them. Because of the unique way that I was given this brand, meaning a different agency worked on it prior to Collab. So I got all of that stuff. I inherited it versus produced it. So no, I haven't met anybody yet, but that will change now that we are actually producing the new work. I look forward to that. I actually, you are talking about mostly men, about 60 years old, who, like I had said, have had heart failure before. But these symptoms are everyday symptoms, right? It's like lower back pain, sore wrist, carpal tunnel, and fatigue. A lot of people just dismiss those as part of getting old and maybe part of like having had a history of heart failure, when it's really killing you, quite literally. And to have a drug as safe as Vyndamax, and that's something to key in on, is like sometimes when you have this one drug that's here to keep you alive, the side effects are still pretty terrible and can be heavy and limiting to your lifestyle. That's not the case here.
There were no known side effects that happened during treatment with Vyndamax.
We're focusing on television, but because we are, our television is going to be unbranded, and that's a big difference. We're not going to be selling Vyndamax on the television ad. We're going to be trying to get people to understand they may have this disease. And then the end thing is a treatment by Pfizer. As soon as you say Pfizer, a doctor's going to know what medication there is. So we're really taking the angle of there's roughly, mind you, this is a rare disease, so it's not a huge population, but there's still probably roughly about 60% of patients suffering from this, so it's finding them. And that's really our initiative through television. And television for the people, like just normal, everyday people watching, but then combining that with a different team who is literally in the same agency with me, but they handle the communications towards the doctors. Having both of us in the same building really is helpful because they know what I'm doing to try and get patients to the doctor's office, cardiologists specifically, and then they finish the story and say, okay, you have these symptoms, you have ATTR-CM, here's Vyndamax, and that becomes the branding part. I mean, that's the most daunting task is men are very dismissive, especially as they grow older, and honestly more scared of having a life-threatening disease. So we're the probably hardest population to get into the doctor's office. So we're not going to scare them. Kind of more of an encouraging, hey, by the way, you should check this out because would you rather die or live? And we can literally say you will not die from ATTR-CM if you're taking Vyndamax. It will be neat because what we're going to be doing too is it's going to be the television ad. That's going to be the core, but the sense of the idea is going to be branched out quite possibly into some sort of sports venue. Again, where men are is kind of where we're going to be targeting it through the Heart Awareness Month and all of that type of stuff. So stay tuned.